Good afternoon. Welcome to Dateline USA. I'm your host, Duncan Elkinson, and I'm here today with 4 graduating seniors from Venice High School, 4 very special seniors who are this year's recipients of the Venice Marina Rotary Art Scholarships. And in continuation of our series of local or Venetian artists, I'm happy to present the youngest group of artists we've had on Dateline USA in quite some time. With me today are Andrew Martinez and Brooke Baxter, Leora Juster, and Richard Chow. I met them in May of 2003 when I was asked to judge the Venice Marina Rotary Art Show. And these are the winners of the art and painting and drawing classes taught at Venice High School by Joanne Caribio and John Wallenus. Each of the students has exhibited a high level of proficiency in their artwork, and for me it was exciting to see such a level of attainment at a high school level. So I'm happy to bring them to you today, the artists of Venice High School. Welcome, Andrew.
Thank you.
Welcome, Brooke.
Thank you very much.
Again, Leora.
Thank you.
And again, Richard. Welcome to Dateline. Now, you have other interests besides art. What type of things have you done in high school, Richard?
Oh, I've done paintings and drawings.
Great. Leora has an exciting activity at school. You were captain of what team?
Basketball and tennis.
Wonderful. And you have already been awarded a congressional award for your art, have you not?
Yeah, yes, Jane Harmon and her art contest.
Wonderful. And Brooke is actually well-traveled. We'll see in your art some of your work done while you were in France.
Yes.
How did you get to France?
Through a school trip with the Venice High School Foreign Language Magnet. We went over the summer just to Paris for 2 weeks.
Great. And back to Andrew. What other activities do you have besides your art?
Well, besides art, I like to dance. I'm into dancing, you know, like hip-hop. I also like to, well, mainly just dancing and art.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Now, tell me about your art.
Well, my art, it's inspired by roses, by flowers, because I find a beauty in flowers, the velvet feel that they have, the vibrant colors that they show, and the rendering of the shadows. It just intrigues me.
How long have you been studying art?
Well, seriously, I've been studying art for about a year or 2, but I started realizing I could draw about 4 years ago.
Great. And now we're looking at Andrew's artwork. You have your first one, the art of a flower, done in mango color. Our second piece, a wonderful silhouette. And a third piece, returning to your theme of flowers, a silhouette of a flower. And let's talk about that first piece. I was so moved when we were judging it. I was so moved by the color in it. What do you call it?
Well, I call it my mango flower.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like a mango, has the color of a mango. But I try, you know, like doing the metamorphosis thing, or like I add the colors of a mango yet have the figure of a flower.
Wonderful. And what media is it?
It's done in soft pastel.
Great. And how did you achieve that wonderful color?
Well, first I started by putting patches of soft pastel color of yellow and red, and then I started blending the colors in with my fingers, or with the tortilla, whatever you call them. And I added some black to add some shading, you know, in the darker areas, and some white to add, you know, highlights in the lighter areas.
I hope you'll be able to re-blend that color again because it was most vibrant.
Thank you.
What technique did you use?
For the mango flower, what I used was as I said, smudging and rendering the colors, and to get the velvet feel, I just I use line qualities. I will add a black in between the yellow and just smudge that around and just rendering.
Okay,
it. Yeah.
that gave it that lovely shadowing.
Yeah.
Wonderful. The second piece was a silhouette of a man. Would you describe what your inspiration for that piece is?
Well, for any silhouette, inspiration is light and dark. And as you could tell, I tried representing the figure by only showing 2 colors, which is black and white. And that's pretty difficult because shadows are many colors. Shadows go from light to dark. And well, my inspiration was just to show the figure with 2 different colors and still maintain, still be able to recognize what it really is supposed to be.
Wonderful. And who was your model for that?
My model was this picture of my friend.
So it was someone you knew
Yeah, someone
that you had a photograph of?
Yeah.
Okay. And you worked in that in silhouette. Contrast that to the final piece that we showed, again of silhouette, but this of a flower.
Yeah, that's the one of flower, it's done in torn paper. It's not really it's kind of like a silhouette, but it's not really how my other piece is, my portrait. Because this one, it doesn't show the darks and lights of the flower, but it shows, it's kind of like an abstract form, because you have like the dark background trying to contrast with the light foreground, so the figure could, pop out.
And which it does wonderfully. And it's your recurring theme. As you said, one of your favorites is flowers.
Yes,
Several of the
flowers.
pieces we judged were flowers. One piece was a collage of flowers. It was all the same flower, but each was treated differently.
Yes, definitely.
Could you explain what you did in that particular work?
Well, in that particular work, I got a picture of a rose, and I drew it first in contour lines, simple. And then I drew it in different techniques. First, there's stippling with ink. Then there's scribbling. Then I used acrylics, color pencils, and what I did is I drew some stems, and I collaged it all on a single red piece of construction paper, so it could have a form of
It was a bouquet of flowers, all done in a different media. It was really wonderful. It is in Princeton with the Advanced Placement art show, isn't that?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
What other medias do you work in your art?
I like to work in graphite. I was just introduced to oil paint like about a month ago, and I really like that because you have a solid feel of the color. You don't have to blend that much, like the colors blend themselves. And also started watercolor too, and those are like about my favorite medias right now.
Wonderful, and my best wishes for your continuation, particularly with your flower series.
Thank you very much, Duncan.
Our second artist with us today is Brooke Baxter.
Hello.
Another senior at Venice High School. Brooke says she's been studying art since she was old enough to hold a crayon. Tell us about your artwork.
I consider my artwork to be very emotional. I use a lot of watercolors. I find that that the media is challenging, but it's very relaxing for me. So I get to flow freely with my hand, and it's my favorite media, definitely.
And we have up your art, our first piece, the Chateau at Fontainebleau, done in watercolor. Your daffodils. I've forgotten how much I loved your daffodils. We'll talk about the coloring here. And finally, a portrait. This is a friend of yours.
Yes.
Yes. I like the pose very much. Let's start with that trip to France. When did it happen?
The summer before 12th grade, so last summer, we took a...
Summer 2002.
Some 2002. Yes, we took a trip to France with the French teachers at my school, and we stayed in Paris for 2 weeks.
Wow.
I sold my first painting, actually, right next to the Seine, the river in Paris. So that
Left
was...
bank or right bank?
Right.
Wonderful.
Right. And so that was wonderful. We went on a trip to Fontainebleau. I did a few sketches while I was there of the castle, and then I took a photograph, and when I came home I finished up the watercolor.
And you did this in watercolor?
Yes.
And it's not the typical perspective of Fontainebleau Chateau that we see. Was this on purpose?
I try and always look at the world through interesting angles. I'm sure my art is exactly the same way. I try and get different perspectives, different colors, to try and get a more emotional feel in the painting.
For me, it's a very sentimental work. I knew immediately what it was. What are other people's opinion of it?
My French teacher is going to buy it, so...
That's quite a compliment.
Yes,
And it'll be a
it is.
souvenir of the time she took you students to Paris.
Right.
You stayed 2 weeks in Paris?
Yes.
As a high school student. How wonderful. Where in Paris did you stay?
We stayed, actually, in Montparnasse, and we it was very fun. We're self-sufficient. We took the metro all over the place.
Sure.
And, it
And
was
from
wonderful.
Montparnasse, you look out over the whole city, do you know? How marvelous. What a great experience for a young person to have. Let's talk about those daffodils.
Okay. Daffodils are my absolute favorite flowers. I love them. They make me happy. So the coloring that I used in the painting was very representative of the joyous feeling that I get whenever I look at daffodils. So I tried to make them as full and light as possible without losing the yellows. And
Like Andrew, you have a passion for painting plants. It's a very hard passion to live through, though, isn't it?
it is.
Shadowing.
Shadowing was definitely a big challenge for me. I've just recently been able to get the shadows on the flowers quite right on all the leaves.
And this was done in watercolor?
Yes.
The background, what did you choose for a background? I love that background color.
Oh, I tried to get an earthy red, brownish tone to it, just to contrast with the bright yellows and lightness of the daffodils. And I think that it kind of is reminiscent of the earth and the ground, and so I tried to create an overall feeling of nature.
And when you were you working from memory, photograph, actual plants? How did you do it?
Again, I did a few rough sketches outside, and then I took a photo and I finished it from a photo. I feel it's the best way to work. I get to pay more attention to the detail when I'm inside in the studio and working from a photograph.
Again, the colorings are wonderful. I hope that one's not sold yet.
No.
The third piece we were able to show today is a portrait.
Right.
And I was attracted to it because of its perspective. Tell us about it. I know it's a friend of yours.
Yes, I was at her house and she was sitting on the floor eating a piece of pie, and I was sitting in a very tall chair above her, and I started sketching out her portrait. I used about 5 different coats of paint to represent her skin tone. I love working with skin tone and trying to get all of the nuances of the figures in there with color and watercolor. So I tried to really work on that in that piece. And the anatomy, of course, is challenging because of her pose.
And how would you say the pose relates to the person?
You know, every time I see her, she's sitting like that. She's athletic. She's always moving around and doing something with her body. So I tried to capture that a little bit.
Okay. I was quite taken with the perspective of that particular work. What other type of art do you do?
I've done a few oil paintings. I just started oils this year. I really like it. It's very, very challenging for me because I'm used to watercolor and it's just so different. But I really like it. I'm getting into using graphite. It's not my favorite, but I'm trying. I'm actually working on some silk painting, including my own prom dress.
Oh, yes. Tell us about this prom dress. I understand you did your own fabric?
Yes, I bought white silk, and I am silk painting a black design over it for my dress and for my boyfriend's vest. And
Sort
so
of
we're
a
gonna
black and
match.
white geometric print of some
Yes.
sort? And you're doing your boyfriend's vest as well?
Right.
How marvelous. I'd like a swatch of this when you're done. Thank you for being with us, Brooke.
Sure. Thank you, Duncan.
Our other lady with us today is Leora Justin. How are you?
I'm all right.
Tell us about your interest in art.
Well, I cut stuffed animals' hair in creative ways when I was younger, and I didn't really do much painting till high school, and then it just came out.
Really? And so the 4 years you've studied with Mr. Wallenus?
I studied with him for 1 year, and I painted a little bit before that, a couple paintings.
Wonderful. And what's your favorite form of art? Here we have a detail from one of your paintings. This is an acrylic. And the detail. Wonderful use of color here, of course. It's unusual to see so much acrylic these days. And what is this one?
It's a lighthouse with water and sky.
In watercolor.
Watercolor.
And finally, the tower,
Yes.
which was done in a very interesting technique, which we will speak about. Let's go back and talk about those acrylic flowers. Have you
Sure.
worked a lot in acrylic?
No. That was my only one.
Okay. And how did you find using acrylic to be different from oil or watercolor?
Well, the paint itself is definitely stickier.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt that the colors work together much easier than the watercolor, and you could cover your mistakes much
Mhm.
better.
It's heavier. Why did you choose flowers?
Well, I'm attracted to flowers because they're very vibrant and sort of voracious. I just want to eat them.
That's a wonderful answer, Leora. The work was done from photographs or from actual plants that you brought into the studio?
The work was done from photographs my teacher took.
Mm-hmm. All right. The second painting was a watercolor of a lighthouse. When was that done?
That was done actually about a week ago when I was in Washington,
Oh, wow.
taking a little break.
Uh-huh. And this is when you got the Congressional Award?
No, this is the state of Washington.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. You were visiting Washington State of.
State of.
And you actually did this while resting in a hotel room?
Yeah.
Okay. And you painted from a photograph?
Yeah, it was a little teensy weensy. I just blew it up,
Mm-hmm.
let it all out.
Marvelous. Your use of color here. It's so hard to paint water and sky, and yet you took on both of them in this particular painting. Have any advice for beginning art students on watercolor?
Just relax and use lots of water and just experiment. And if you're good at painting, then it'll come out good. And if you're not, it won't.
Okay. Your last piece, I was very intrigued to find out your technique with this. Would you describe what you did in that wonderful tower painting?
Well, our art teacher didn't allow us to use paintbrushes, so for the sky, I actually used these fingers.
Mm-hmm.
And for the rest, we had little cardboard pieces that, you just slip the paint on and sort of just smear it and use it for your advantage.
Wonderful. What other type of artwork have you done?
I've done a bit of sculpting, not serious, just in my backyard or something, culinary. I sort of like
Mm-hmm.
to present my food when I cook.
Mm-hmm. It's called garde-manger, food preparation.
Garde-manger.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Wonderful. Well, good. We appreciate you being with us today. Our fourth artist is Richard Chow. Hello, Richard, and welcome to Dateline USA.
Thank you.
Tell us about your interest in art, please.
I like to focus on portraits and the human body.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very interested in it.
And how long have you been studying art?
Very much.
And you're at Venice High School, you've been a student of who? Your art is up. We have, is this an oil?
Oh, it's an oil wash.
Okay. And a collage based on the actress Meg Ryan. Wonderful. And a most intriguing shade of blue. And this is a portrait. Is this someone you know? Or
Actually, I don't know who that is.
okay. And it's watercolor. Fine. And I believe there's a fourth piece. Yes. This is a collage based on silhouettes of, or self-portraits of you.
Yeah, myself.
Wonderful. Let's talk about that Van Gogh copy for a moment. What was your inspiration there?
My inspiration? A grade.
Mm-hmm. And your choice of colors?
What the teacher gave us. We had blues and reds and yellows. That's all we had to work with. So I went from there, starting from the lightest to the darkest. and then adding some touch-ups with some white paint.
Mm-hmm. And how did you achieve the wonderful background color?
Oh, it's just a wash of blue, just very dark. Just went over it a few times.
Mm-hmm. Great. Tell us about the Meg Ryan collage, if you will, please.
Oh. Well, I never thought it'd turn out like that. The original is just one pencil drawing I did a few months ago.
Mm-hmm.
That
And
is,
then how was it generated that way?
I scanned it into the computer. And I don't know how it turned out, but it came out with purple ink. I thought it'd be a copy.
Mm-hmm. Originally, it was a graphite sketch.
Yes.
Wonderful. And you worked from a photograph.
Yes.
Wonderful. That watercolor portrait. What can you tell us about that?
Oh, that was my second watercolor painting. Let's see. I don't know about that one. I think I like painting that one. It felt good.
Mm-hmm.
Chose
And
the
how
color.
did you achieve the color, particularly in the hat on that particular one?
It just happens when you do something, when you're painting. Stuff
Does
like
it?
that, yeah. All sorts of things.
Mm-hmm. And then let's go to the self-portrait.
Oh, it was the first class assignment we had.
Mm-hmm.
We were given these mirror things. We had to draw ourselves at different angles.
Did you find that difficult?
For me, I already had practice, so it's kind of easy for me.
Mm-hmm. The middle one, the final one, is very intricate. I'm not sure if it showed well on the television monitor. How did you achieve the coloration, the shading?
Very close study. A lot of pencil.
Great. What other type of artwork do you like to do, Richard?
Well, I mostly like graphite and sketching. Rarely paint.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, mostly graphite. It's my favorite.
Great. We appreciate your being with us today.
Thank you.
Now, tell us what's next. High school is but a beginning, isn't it? Andrew, you have interesting plans for the summer, do you not?
Yes, I'm planning on going to Japan this summer. Hopefully, if I could afford it. I'll be heading to Japan for a month. I said it at the beginning of the show. That's one plan. Another plan is to just take a little break, off of high school and get ready for college.
Mm-hmm. Why Japan?
Why Japan? Well, I've been studying Japanese at Venice High School for 4 years, and it comes easy to me. It's really not difficult, It's just a foreign language, I already know Spanish and English, so I said, why not go for more? And since I know Japanese, I want to be able to have use for it. So if I go to Japan, of course I'll be speaking Japanese.
That's wonderful. Have you decided on a major in college yet?
I think I have. My major is probably going to be either computer science or computer engineering with a minor in art.
Mm-hmm. Excellent, and we wish you well.
Thank you.
Brooke Baxter is off to one of my favorite places. Where are you going to school?
UC Santa Cruz.
Excellent.
Yes.
And what will you be studying there?
Sociology with a concentration in social psychology. But I'm very interested in sitting among the redwoods and painting the beautiful, beautiful trees.
Why did you decide on sociology?
People are just very interesting, and they're very interesting in groups, and I like writing about people, and I figure that goes into another one of my passions, which is writing. And
What have you written?
well, I won Amnesty International's essay contest a few months back. It's a human rights
Congratulations.
essay. Thank you. I founded Venice High School's literary magazine as well. So
And what is it called?
Written Voice.
Wonderful. Well, we wish you well. Please keep in touch from Santa Cruz.
I will.
Expect great things from both of you. Leora, off to San Diego. Tell us about that.
Well, they recruited me for basketball, so I went there and signed. So that's what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful campus, UC
Yeah.
San Diego. Do you know what you're going to study there?
Well, I'm currently undeclared with a concentration in undeclaredness.
Mm-hmm. You have an interest in nutrition,
Nutrition and physical education,
and physical therapy.
math.
Oh, yes, your minor was in math. I'm
Well,
impressed with that.
Yeah.
Do you intend to continue your artwork?
Of course. As a
Wonderful.
hobby.
And Richard, where are you off to school?
I think I'm going to take a break from college for a while. Now that school's over, I can focus more on art.
You're going to work on art?
Yeah.
Commercial art or?
Oh, I don't, anything.
Great. Again, it was wonderful for me to go back to high school and to see such a high level of attainment in art at Venice High School. I want to thank the faculty and administration at Venice High School. That would be Principal Jan Davis and Assistant Principal C.C. Grakel for arranging this with teachers Joanne Garabio and John Wallenus, the painting and drawing teachers at Venice High School. I'm particularly grateful to the Venice Marina Rotary Club, who established the scholarship and ran the art contest this year, for helping in the production of this. As always, I'm grateful to the staff and the production team that makes this possible. For Dateline USA, I'm your host, Duncan Elkinson, with the Art of Venice High School. Thank you for being with us today. Congratulations.